Hi, we're going to continue on with lesson 5 from our intro to turtle programming. So first of all, lesson 5 starts out in task 1 with a video on loops. Please make sure that you watch this video. So you can pause this video and go to your device and watch the video on loops now. All right, now that we watched that the video on loops, let's get started with our tasks. So it says getting started with loops. A loop is a block of code that is repeated or looped through in a program. You will be creating a loop using the for loop block. So that's in our control part of our toolbox. And this is what we have to drag out to get that loop started. This number 4 right here, that indicates how many times that loop is going to run. And it's called the for loop block up here, F-O-R, not the number, F-O-U-R, because it starts with the word for, and then it's telling you what is happening here. So it says we're going to start experimenting with a program similar to what you saw in the video. So we did drag out that for loop block, and it's in the control section, just like I told you. And inside the loop, you're going to do a move forward. So we're going to go into the turtle, we're going to do a move forward, and we're going to do a turn left. For the turn left, right now, it's at 90 degrees. So that's going to make this just a square. I am going to choose to make the move forward more like 100 pixels because I think it's going to be easier for us to see. And again, we have that 90-degree turn left. So by turning left, if I turn left less than 90, so let's say I turn left 80 degrees, it's going to give me an 80-degree turn. So my turtle starts off by going straight, and now it's making an 80-degree turn. And it's going straight, and it's making an 80-degree turn. But what they asked us to do is to make a 137-degree turn. They want us to play with this a little. So I'm going to make a 137-degree turn. And what I want you to recognize is that when we are making a 137-degree turn, that means that we've started off with this turtle going forward, and at this point, the turtle is making a 137-degree turn. So that's the projected line forward. This part is 137. Over here, sorry, I didn't see that. So that part is 137, and the remaining part is 180 minus 137. It's 180 minus 137 because this is a straight line, and a straight line is 180 degrees. So 180 minus 137 is 43. So the interior angles here are 43 degrees. The exterior angles are 137. All right. And they want you to just kind of keep playing around. If you take a look, they're asking you to experiment. So change the number of times that the loop runs. So what happens if I run this loop, say, 10 times? And then increase the speed to see how fast the loop can execute. So down here, we have the turtle and the rabbit. I'm going to just bring it all the way to the rabbit. And that's me running it 10 times. What happens if I run it 100 times? What? What? What happens if I run it 50 times? I need to run this a little bit slower. I want to watch it. 50 is a lot. Wow, look at that. That's pretty cool. So it looks like a circle on the inside. And the reason it looks like a circle is because each time that's getting brought over just a little bit, and then it just kind of closes in. So keep playing around and, you know, see what you can do. All right, so now we are on task 3. I did play around with this, so let me make sure it's started over. All right, so on task 3, I'm going to just kind of get rid of this so we can look more at the instructions. So it says practice using loops, part 2. Let's look at the second example from the video. Use a for loop to call a function that you wrote. We've provided you the code for the draw square function. So right here is draw square, so it's moving forward, turning right, moving forward, turning right, and that continues to happen. And what they want us to do is drag out a for loop, and they want to have us put the function of draw square in there, and then it's going to, and then it's turning right 10 degrees. So let me show you what's happening. So first of all, if I so I'm going to bring, oops, wrong function. I need to bring in my for loop paddle. All right. So in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be drawing the square. Draw square. And I want to provide the size, and I'm going to say that I want my size to be 100. So right now, it's going to draw the square 4 times because the number 4 is up there. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you look at this, I could make this go 100 times. All you're going to notice is that the line gets darker and darker because every single time that this is run, it's just drawing on top and on top and on top. But it's not quite doing the tilt thing that they're looking for you to do. So what they actually wanted you to do is to do, and did they want you to turn right or turn left? I just want to make sure. It looks like we are turning right. So they want us to actually turn right. So we're going to draw the square, and then we're going to turn right just a little bit. Now, if I turned right 90 degrees, look at what happens. Oh, I have this in for 100 times. No, I don't want to do that. Okay, so if I turned right by 90 degrees, when it gets to this point, it's turning right by 90 degrees. So it's literally going to be drawing these squares on top of each other. I don't want 90 degrees. What if we had it turn right by 45 degrees? All right, so that's how that's being handled. Now, what if we had it, we're clearly going to need less than 45. What if we did 20? Let's try 20. Okay, so now now it's looking a little bit closer to what we're supposed to look like, but these are really, 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 really close together. What I want you to do is play around. I'm going to try 10, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to ask that to happen 20 times. I just want to see how this goes. All right, now I need to increase the speed before I go to sleep. Nope, a little bit more. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that's with the speed at 20. Or I'm sorry, that's with it happening 20 times, and it's turning right 10 degrees. So what if I needed to finish all of this? I need it to finish. Let's see. What if I did it 40 times? Do you think 40 would work? Oh, 40 worked. Wait, but when I do 40, what do you notice happens? And I ran it slower because I want you to see what's happening. can't make it so that it's moving at an appropriate speed, but not putting us to sleep. All right, let's try this. And if this doesn't work, don't worry, I will. Yeah, that's still way too slow. Okay, so when it goes through, it's doing this. I have to tell you a secret. In a circle, all the way around, it's 360 degrees. If I have this moving at 10 degrees, that tells me that every time it's just scooching 10 degrees. How many times would it have to move for it to be all the way around to make a circle? 360 divided by 10 is 36. What if I changed this to 5 degrees? Then I would say, okay, 360 divided by 5, and that's 72. However, if I made this 20 and I wanted it to go all the way around, I would have to do the same thing. So I just want to show you really quick. So right now I'm going to keep it at 10, and I'm going to have it do it 34 times, just so you can see. If you notice, you'll see that here it's kind of unfinished. So that's 34 times. Here's 35 times. Still unfinished. And here is 36 times. You'll notice that when I take it from 36 to 37, there's no change, except you'll notice that this square is a little bit darker because it's now gone over that particular square one time. And then you can, to get the picture that they are showing you in here, they are turning right 5 degrees, and they are doing this 72 times, because 360 divided by 5 is 72, and then that's how you get that. Looks like a cool optical illusion. All right, so now we are looking at, and I'm just going to start this over because I definitely was playing around with this a lot today. So now we are looking at these dots. So if you remember, I'm going to just run this a little slower, and this is constantly giving each of these dots a different color. It's also moving the dots to a completely different spot. So we have to remember that this RGB stands for red, green, and blue. And the values for red can be anywhere from 0 to 255. The values for green can be anywhere from 0 to 255, and the values for blue can be anywhere from 0 to 255. So so it's giving a random number. And if you remember from, and if you want to take a closer look at the different colors, you can go into this pen RGB, and it will give you a document that's going to give you all of the colors that are available to you. But if we take a look, we see that each of these are asking for a random number. So any value of red within these values, any value of green from here to here, and any value of blue. So that's how you're getting all these different shades. The other thing is that we have this 0.5, and what that means is that the dots are going to be a little bit see-through. So they're going to be a little bit transparent. So if I had that value set at 1, instead of seeing these see-through dots, if I change this to 1, you're going to notice that they're all solid color dots. If I changed it down to 0.25, this is going to give you a lot of dots that are very light. But they had us at 0.5, so I'm going to keep it there. They're going to be a little bit darker than what you see on the screen right now. And there we have it. So what they're asking us to do is to see how many times, how many iterations, number of times that the loop runs, that you're going to need to consistently fill the screen entirely with dots, so none of the background is showing. So right now I have it going 100 times. I could double that. Let's do 200. I still see a lot of white space. Let's double that. Let's do 400. So I want you to keep playing around and take a look at what's going to give you the different values. I'm going to just go crazy, and I'm going to use 2000, and 2000 seems to be covering, although I do see a little bit of white up there. And every time that you press reset run, you're going to get a completely different picture. So keep that in mind. So I want you to keep playing with that. Okay, so now in task 5, what we see is it says some repeated tasks can't be easily solved with a single loop. You'll need to use one loop after another. So first of all, I'm going to show my blocks. Sorry, I didn't mean to make all that blue. I'm going to show my blocks because it allows me to see this a little bit better. I know some of you prefer the text, so that was fine for you. But for me, I need to see the blocks. They're asking us to do this. Add a loop to fill the screen with semi-transparent white dots until all the original dots are erased. All right, let's take a closer look here. So they have it being run. It's filling up. Now it's filling up with white dots, and it looks like it's cleared out. That's what they want us to do here. Okay, so we're going to need to add a second draw loop. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to show text, and I'm going to, I know that this entire thing can be copied and pasted, so I'm going to do that. Now I'm going to show my blocks, and instead of having the pen color give me any random number, any random color, I'm going to take that out. What if I put 0 in here? Does that equal white? No, it doesn't. That gives me a bunch of black dots. So let's just take a little look at this again. So first it's running through, oh boy, this is for 2000. Let me actually change this so that it's a little bit more manageable. So we're going to take a look. First it's running through, and it's giving me a bunch of random colored dots. After it gets done with those 100 random colored dots, then it's going to run through lines 7 through 11. And when it runs through lines 7 through 11, we're going to see, should almost be done there. There we go. Now it's starting to give me the random black dots. So if you take a look, you're going to see all the black dots getting put everywhere. They're not going on top of the same size of color dots. So we need to change a lot of things here. First of all, this was originally at 2000, as was the white dots were going to be at 2000. I know that 0, the value of 0 doesn't give me white, it gives me black. So let's try the value of the opposite. We're going to do 255. And I have it as 2000. Oh boy, we're going to go to sleep after this is done. All right. Oh boy. So I know that 2000 of the colored dots filled the screen, but 2000 of the white dots that doesn't seem to be filling the screen. I see some color here still, some color up here. It's a lot of color. What if I instead of making them opaque, what if I made them a solid color? Let's see what happens. Okay, so that seems to do a better job of it, but my instructions tell me that they want it to be opaque. I just wanted to see. I mean, I almost would have to maybe even change this from 2000 to 3000. Let's see what happens. That doesn't even do it. So I want you to keep playing and see what you can do to try to make your screen completely clear after putting all of those colored dots on it. All right, now we are in task 6. So this is going to get kind of fun, but it's also going to get a little bit confusing. So let's kind of stick with each other on this. First of all, what they want us to do is to look at the complex version of Under the Sea. Just look at the complex version of the Under the Sea scene you drew in the previous lesson. So that was previously when you drew it. So it says now you have all the skills to recreate this digital scene. So if we take a look at this digital scene, we've got, I see the seaweed coming up, I see the starfish, I see the regular fish, I see bubbles all in the back, and I also see some sun rays coming in. It looks like the sun is beaming in and everybody's sunbathing. That sounds like a beautiful thing right now. So let's take a look at what it's saying. You're about to see that we've provided you with a good amount of starting code. Here's a brief tour. So they're walking you through all of what they've given you. I just want to show it to you really quick. So preparing the turtle to draw. So first we're hiding the turtle, then we're putting the pen up. And we're going to start at the very bottom because this is kind of the beginning. The first thing that they did was they made a function to draw a sunbeam. So drawing the sunbeam, this is the code that goes with that. Here is drawing a bubble. Right here, we are drawing fish, the fish body, the fish tail. Here, we're drawing seagrass. That was with the arcs. Here we are drawing a sea star. And here we're drawing the background. Then at the very top of the code, this is the function to draw all sunbeams. This is the function to draw all bubbles. This is to draw all fish and draw all sea stars, draw all seagrass. And it says these 6 functions draw everything. Order matters for how different parts of the picture are layered. So that's what's going on here. So that's the code for the next couple of tasks. They're asking us to do this. Review the structure of the code in this level. So we just did that. Run the code to familiarize yourself with what it currently draws. So right now we're just looking to see what it's currently drawing. So it looks like I'm drawing a fish, a starfish, a sunbeam, a bubble, and a piece of seagrass. So I've got one of each. That's all I've got going on is one of each. Okay, going on to task 7. So in task 7, they want us to add bubbles. The first high-level function you will write is draw all bubbles. You may have noticed that the bubbles in the image look very similar to the dots. To the dots example we've already drawn in this lesson. Now we will use that skill to add to our image. So if we take a look here, we're going to see all of these dots. They all look like they're random sizes, and those are to make the air bubbles. So they want us to read the draw bubble function to see how it works and what parameters it accepts. So let's go take a look at draw bubble. I think towards the bottom. There it is, draw a bubble. So it has the pen color at 100, 100, 255, a lot of blue in there, some red and some green, a lot of blue. And then they have the opaqueness of it, how transparent it is 0.2. So that means it's pretty see-through. And then the dot is going to be whatever size this indicates, and this is indicating whatever size. So this is draw a bubble. So right here is to draw the bubble. So they're going to tell us what size, and they want it to be a random number between 1 and 5. So that's what's going on to draw the bubbles. All right, let's go back down here to the draw bubble. And this is what they wanted us to do. Modify, okay, so this accepts color and it accepts the dot size. All right, oops. Sorry about that. So now we're going to go back up here to draw our bubbles, and let's see what they want us to do. It says add a loop inside the function. So we're going to go to control, and we are going to add a loop inside the function and move the commands that were already inside the function inside the loop instead. So by doing this, we're saying, okay, we want it to do that, but we want it to do it a certain number of times. Right now, if I press run, I'm going to see that I have 1, 2, 3, and there's probably a fourth bubble. Oh, there it is. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 bubbles. The reason I have 4 bubbles is because the number is written here as 4. If I said that I wanted 200 bubbles, now I'm going to have bubbles all over the screen. So they want you to decide how many bubbles you might want. If you think 200 is enough for you, then stay with 200. Or if you think 200 is too many, maybe you want only 100. Maybe you want the fish to be breathing a whole lot, and then you're like, I think I want 250. I think I'm personally just going to stick with 250 for right now. And now I'm drawing all of my bubbles. All right, so now we're on task 8. So in task 8, we're looking to add fish. So the next high-level function you will write is to draw all fish. It's a version of Drawfish with parameters. A version of Drawfish with parameters has been provided for you to use, so it's down there in the code. They want us to read the Drawfish function to know how it works and what parameters it accepts. So let's go read the Drawfish function. So this is the Drawfish, and what we're looking at is the size. That's the parameter that we're going to be trying to give it, is the size, and then also the color, red, green, blue. So we have the size here, and that's going to help us to change the pen width, and also it's going to help us to change the dot. And however far we move forward is also going to be the size. So that's what we're looking at there, is the size. So we now know what parameters it accepts. Now we have to add a loop to draw all fish. So draw all fish, place these commands inside, and it's already drawing the fish with random numbers in that red, green, and blue. Let's read this really quick. It says place the commands already inside. The way your code will move. So they want us to draw fish 15. See what happens right now. So right now I have 15 fish, and they're all slight variations of this of this color. And then they want them to be random sizes between 15 and 20. All right, and let's just let's try to make these. I'm gonna make these fish whatever color they feel like popping up. Oh, you know what I did? Watch this. I put it in the wrong spot. What? I made this a random number between 0 and 255. This should actually be a random number between 5 and 20 because the first value is the size. The next values are the colors, red, green, blue. So I'm going to add this. There we go. Now we've got the fish everywhere. They're all different colors. Maybe I want to tone them down a little. Maybe I want a little bit less of one thing or another, and I can play with those colors a little bit when I have a chance. So that's what we're going to be doing here. Now I'm going to finish and go on to task 9. All right, task 9 is going to have us add sea stars. So right now I have my fish and I have 1 sea star right here. So what they want us to do is take a look at the sea star function to know how it works and what parameters it accepts. Now this one is going to be a little tricky. What they want you to do is go take a look at this sea star. And when you take a look at the sea star, you're going to see that lines 63 through 72, sorry, I didn't grab them all, 63 through 72, they just keep looping. So why don't we do this? It happens 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So why don't we, instead of having all this code in here, it's kind of a little extra. Hold on. I like to grab it all and toss it. So instead of doing that, now just so you know, if I kept that number 4 in there, my my starfish will not. Wait, why is it not? Okay, so I'm looking at this pink starfish. So right now I just have a 2 in there, and the 2, you can see it's not working all the way. Let's see, 3. That's what 3 is giving me. 4. So 4 looks like it's working, but it's really not because we're missing this last line. So I actually need to put 5 in here. And if you take a look, it's now going to close. So, so I do need the number 5 in there because this did happen 5 times. So that was the first thing that we needed to have happen. Now let's read the rest of the code. So second, add a loop to draw all stars. So what I'm going to do now is, there it is, draw all sea stars. So I'm going to bring this bad boy in, bring that guy, and it says place the commands already inside the loop. That way your turtle is going to move randomly around the bottom pixels. So they have it so that the stars are going to stay towards the bottom. The Y values are between 360 and 450. So if you take a look at the X value is anywhere from 0 to 320, so it's going to go back and forth wherever. And then the Y value is anywhere from 360 to 450, so that it stays at this bottom part. So, and then they want us to draw 5 sea stars. So for these sea stars, we're going to change this to the number 5, and they should be of random size between 10 and 30, and that's already set for you. So now I have my 5 sea stars. I don't particularly like that picture. Ooh, now they're all in the same spot. All right, well, you can just keep reset and run, and you're always going to get a different picture. All right, and here is task 10. So controlling loops with parameters. This time you'll modify one of the lower level functions, draw seagrass. Notice that the current version of draw seagrass actually uses a loop. So let's look at where it says draw seagrass. And they want us to look at the lower level, which is down here. Drawfish, there's the draw seagrass. So they already do have a loop in here. And they have it moving from left to right, and they have it moving 60 degrees with whatever radius was asked for. We want to modify this function so we can control the number of times it loops with a parameter. So to do this, we have to look at the draw seagrass function to see how it currently works. Right now we're in the draw seagrass function. It's at line 74 on my screen. Add a parameter that will be used to indicate how many waves the seagrass makes. So they want us to add a parameter. So right in here, they want us to write in num waves. So that's going to be how many times that you see the hump back and forth, the radius back and forth. Modify the for loop so that it uses that parameter as the number of times to repeat. So up here, what we have to do is we have to add another parameter, and we're going to call that num, N-U-M for number, waves. So let's go up towards the top where we draw all seagrass, and there we go. So make sure that we're doing this in the right spot. Look at the seagrass function. We did that. Add a parameter that we use to indicate how many waves the seagrass makes. So I think I'm in the wrong place. I actually need to go down. Sorry, I went to the wrong spot. All right, so right here in line 74, that's where I am. First they have the radius. Now I'm just going to bring it out a level, and I'm going to put num waves, the number of waves. So now whatever number of waves that we're asking for, that's going to put that here. And modify the for loop so that we have that. So num waves is going to be in this for loop in the draw all seagrass. There we go. No, we already did that. Oh, so we did it just backwards. Okay, that's why that was happening. Okay, sorry about that. So we need to have num waves in line 74, and then we also need to have that in line 81 right here. Finally, now it's saying to modify the draw all seagrass. Sorry about that. So I'm going to draw all seagrass, and that's right here. And they want us to call this by supplying a reasonable random value for the second parameter. So, so a reasonable random value for the second parameter I'm going to say anywhere from like maybe 4 to 9. Let's see what happens if we do 4 to 9. So when we draw the seagrass, first we're getting a random number from 5 to 20. And that random number had to deal with the radius, I believe. Then the second random number is for the number of waves. And I'm going to put a random number in there. Let's see what 4 to 9 gives me. So it's making my seagrass all different sizes and shapes. Oh, it's all the way over here now. All right. They chose a random number from 2 to 10. Let's see what variation that gives me. All right, I'm gonna keep that because that is what they have here. But you can play around with that. All right. Now in task 11, we're going to be adding seagrass. So the new version is going to draw a single piece of seagrass with a random height. Now we're going to use a loop in draw all seagrass to fill the sea floor with it. So they want us to draw 50 pieces of seagrass. So I'm going to go into draw all seagrass. We're going to use this loop function. They want us to draw 50 pieces. Now I have 50 pieces and they're all over the place. Some of them are tall, some of them aren't. What would happen if I drew 100? Oh, that might be too much seagrass. I'm going to stick with the 50 that they recommended. There we go. All right, and I believe that's all we have to do here. Very nice. Okay, now in task 12, now we have to deal with those sunbeams. So right now we've only got one sunbeam coming through, but we're going to want to put more sunbeams in there, obviously. So they want us to read the draw sunbeams to see what parameters it holds. So I believe that was the first thing. Here we go. So this is the drawing of the sunbeams. They want us to now add a loop to draw all the sunbeams. They want us to put about 100 sunbeams inside. And if you look at the sunbeams, they're definitely like that see-through. Let's take a look at how their code. Okay, so right here it has it's 0.1 as far as its transparency goes. I'm going to go back up, go into draw all sunbeams, add my loop, put these guys in it. And it says place the commands already inside the function in your loop. And then turn to a random angle between 165 and 175. So that's 165 to 175. That's so that they're all kind of looking like random sunbeams coming in. Now it looks like, oh, I didn't change this. They want us to draw about 100 sunbeams, so I'm just going to keep it at 100. You can play around and make that scene look however you want. Oh, that looks like a lot of sunbeams. So it looks good though. All right, So now they want us to just mess around with the under the sea scene and make it do different things. So just play around with it and try to make it a scene that you're going to be proud of. And it does tell you right here, don't worry, you can't screw it up. Play around as much as you want. You can always go back to the previous version. So remember, you can go to version history and you can go to a previous version, or you could restart the whole thing if you want. So that's the deal there. I hope you enjoyed this and I hope you found good value.